Hello and welcome back to my channel and part 2 of my BookTuber Recommend series. Technically, I don't know if this is going to be an official series, if it's just going to be when I have read some more books that BookTubers have recommended, I'll make another video. It'll probably be more of the latter, but here is my second video in that installment. So in my first video, I just picked a book and then I started doing a spin the wheel to pick future books. This time, I can't remember why I didn't spin the wheel. Well, I did spin the wheel. I can't remember why I didn't film it. I think I was just tired and I didn't want to do the whole thing. So I was like, I'm just going to spin the wheel and then I'll just tell people that I spun the wheel and that that's how I got this book. So the next book that came up was Skullduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy. And this book was recommended by Nick from Dr. Cranky Pants Reads. I will link to his video below in which he talked about this book. I have been on the hunt to try to find some books that might interest my oldest. So when I saw that Nick posted a video about this adventure, magic, fantasy, skeleton book, I thought this might be something that he might enjoy. So I got a copy from the library and I read it. Here is the Goodreads description. Meet Skullduggery Pleasant, ace detective, snappy dresser, razor-tongued wit, crackerjack sorcerer, and walking, talking, fire-throwing skeleton, as well as ally, protector, and mentor of Stephanie Edgley, a very unusual and darkly talented 12-year-old. These two alone must defeat an all-consuming ancient evil. The end of the world? Over his dead body. The story opens when a family is gathered to hear the reading of a will. A man named Gordon has been killed, and his family is all here to see what he might have left for them. Stephanie, who is 12 years old at the start of the book, is left Gordon's house, and she would like to stay in his house. Her parents are a little nervous about it, but through a series of events, they're like, sure, we'll be back in a couple hours. One thing leads to another. She ends up spending the night there, and things start happening in that house. Now, I neglected to mention a crucial point. In that reading of the will, there was somebody there that nobody recognized, and a man who was kind of hiding his face and was dressed really well. So, a man who we find out is named Skullduggery Pleasant. Skullduggery Pleasant ends up showing back up at the house. Through a series of events, he and Stephanie end up joining forces to evade a murderer, to learn about magic, and to keep the bad guy from taking over the government. There are 15 books in the series. I so far have only read the first one, but I am interested in continuing the series. I forgot to check to see if my library has more in the series. Ooh, it does. So this book was fun. I personally listened to it on audio. I think it would be a better read on paper. However, the copy I got from my library appeared to be very old and very used, very dusty, and just like when I closed the book, there was just like a puff of dust, and it was too much for me personally. So I'm wondering if it hadn't been checked out for a while. I don't know. But this book has adventure, it has humor, it has a 12-year-old as the main character who is doing these amazing things alongside discovering who she is and what she wants out of life. So it was a fun one. I'm really glad that Nick recommended it, and I look forward to getting a copy for my son. I hope that he likes it, but we will see. Okay, for the next one, I did spin the wheel. This book was recommended by Mimi from It's Mimi Duong. And again, I will link to the video below where she talked about this book. She spoke so highly about this and really said that it gave a lot of words and feelings to her experience in growing up in the United States. This book is about an immigrant family who moved to Southern California, and it's about their life as they are navigating a new country, lots of racism, people treating them poorly, trying to make money in order to put food on the table, and just all of the facets that come with that. Here is the Goodreads description. Mia Tang has a lot of secrets. Number 1, she lives in a motel, not a big house. Every day, while her immigrant parents clean the rooms, 10-year-old Mia manages the front desk of the Cala Vista Motel and tends to its guests. Number 2, her parents hide immigrants. And if the mean motel owner, Mr. Yao, finds out they've been letting them stay in the empty rooms for free, the Tangs will be doomed. Number 3, she wants to be a writer. But how can she when her mom thinks she should stick to math because English is not her first language? It will take all of Mia's courage, kindness, and hard work to get through this year. Will she be able to hold on to her job, help the immigrants and guests, escape Mr. Yao, and go for her dreams? This is a middle grade book, and I listened to it on audio, and I think the audiobook was fantastic. I loved Mia. I love that this book was written for middle grade, and me being able to read it as an adult, you know, I'm not the target audience of a middle grade book, but being able to learn about the experiences of this fictional girl, but also the way that this fictional story is also so real for so many people. Mia is so smart and so kind-hearted, and she's trying to grow up and deal with all of the things that a 12-year-old goes through as they are in the process of growing up. She is trying to navigate school in a new country, in a new city, and people who are not always kind to her, trying to make friends, trying to help her family with this hotel, with the knowledge that the motel owner is a pretty shady guy and a pretty rude person. It is heartbreaking, too, in many ways. The racism that their family had to deal with, that their family, in spite of being targeted so much, also stood up for other people. In their motel is a Black man who has been living there for quite a while, and through a series of events, the motel owner and the police are trying to throw him out. And it comes up that there is a list circulating between the hotels in this radius of bad people that they want to keep out of their hotel. And Mia finds out that this list of bad people is primarily Black people. So there are awful and heartbreaking themes, but very important themes in this book, because this is real and this does happen. You know, for the longest time, I didn't read much middle grade at all. I just didn't care for it. And I've noticed over the last maybe 2 years, I've started reading more middle grade, and I have just really started to appreciate more of the genre, the way that so many important themes and topics and conversations, the way that authors can put that into terms and words and experiences that children can relate to. This is definitely one of those books that I think is a great read, especially for anyone, but especially for middle grade readers, in giving a voice to some of her thoughts and feelings, and also for people who have not experienced that, like me, being able to just hear and learn about experiences that are not mine, and being able to hear from other people and experience through a book things that are outside my lived experience. So thank you, Mimi, for recommending it and for sharing some of your thoughts that you had while you were reading it. I really appreciate your perspective and your input on that, and I'm really glad that I read this book. So there is my second installment for my BookTuber Recommends thing that I'm doing, series, if you will, I guess. And both of these obviously were middle grade, so that's kind of fun that my third and fourth reads both ended up being middle grade so that I could put them in the same video. Actually, my first and second. My first four reads were all middle grade. One of the great things, and in a way not great things, about BookTube is just the way that my TBR has grown so long, but I love it. At first, I was putting all my BookTuber recommendations just on my regular virtual TBR, and then I was like, I need a better way to sort these and keep track of them, otherwise I will never remember who recommended what. So now hopefully my lists are much more streamlined so that I can keep track and follow things better. But I am really excited to be reading some more of these books that you all have recommended and spoken so highly about on your channels. I have read another book that was a BookTuber recommendation, and I'm in the middle of yet another one, so stay tuned for the third installment at some point. And until next time, happy reading.